watching this on Friday. Maybe you're not. I don't know. But it's Friday for me. It's casual Friday. I got to wear a t-shirt. That's how you know if I'm recording on a Friday, is when I'm normally wearing a t-shirt or something a lot more casual. But hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining the show and watching, or the channel, and join me for the question of the day. So my students today, they asked the question of, why do Christians think that all things come from God? Well, first of all, that's what Scripture says. That's how God has revealed himself to us and told us how he has done things. Right? We get that idea from verses like John 1:1-3. Right? It says, in the beginning was the Word, Jesus, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. And here's verse 3. All things were made through him, and without him, not anything made that was made. Right, so without Jesus, nothing that was made could have come into existence. Jesus made all things. Now, kind of a side point, but I like to bring up when focused on this verse, is that when talking with Jehovah's Witnesses, or even Mormons, they would say that Jesus is a created being, that he has not eternally existed as God. Well, if you look at John 1:3, even in the New World Translation, the translation of the Jehovah's Witnesses, it reads, all things came into existence through him, and even more strongly, it says, and apart from him, not even one thing came into existence. So my question normally to them is this. If Jesus is a created being and not one thing that was created came into existence apart from him, that all things created were created by Jesus, and Jesus is created, that means Jesus would have had to create himself. Well, that's logically impossible to create yourself if you don't exist. And so I think this pushes Jesus into the category of uncreated things. And that's what we're talking about here with this verse. Another verse that we get it from is from Colossians chapter 1. Starting in verse 15, it says, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So here are two verses that point to this idea that Jesus is the creator of all things, and he existed before those things. And what I love about this is that it lines up with what we understand about philosophy, of that there are contingent things, those that require an explanation of their existence, created things, and necessary things, or necessary beings, things that exist necessarily. And if something is made, it needs a maker. If something's created, it needs a creator. And even science is starting to confirm this, or has confirmed this in many ways, with Big Bang cosmology, of that all of time, space, and matter had a beginning at the Big Bang. And so whatever created it, the uncreated thing that created it, has to be uncreated, it has to be timeless, has to be spaceless, has to be immaterial. And here in Scripture we learn that Jesus is the immaterial, uncreated creator of all things. Now, does this mean that Jesus made my iPad or my watch or all these things? No, not necessarily, right? So we have the ability to create as well. And there are things that do come from humans. My computer came from humans. But the difference is this, is that humans, when we create, we rearrange existing materials in order to make something new. God's creation is creation ex nihilo. From nothing, out of nothing, God creates things. We simply take what is already there, given to us by God, and rearrange it. So God may not be the direct creator of my laptop. He gave the intelligence, the consciousness, the reasoning abilities, and the design abilities to the person, as well as the materials that we use to rearrange in order to create the things that we have. So ultimately, yes, all things come from God. It is only God that existed before those things, and he brought everything into existence that has come into existence. Have an awesome weekend. Hope you guys have enjoyed the questions this week. See you next week with some more questions of the day.